This is a presentation which is a repeat of a presentation that I delivered to the CIBSE Yorkshire Regional Awards, which a few people have asked me to present. So with great power comes responsibility. This was my first title and was inspired by one of my cheekiest researchers who quoted Spider-Man when I was first promoted to professor. However, recently I've been thinking about autumn, how I love the trees and the leaves, and whether the seasons will still be the same for the next generation. The impact of the unexpected political changes in the world and the challenges for our children may be something that is on our minds at the moment. So in addressing an audience of successful specialists, engineers and leaders, I wanted to see if we could raise an ambition to ensure the experiences of the seasons are protected for our children. My new title is Influencing the Future and Avoiding Unintended Consequences. The dilemma is that sometimes we unwittingly allow situations to develop where our choices become so limited and the consequences so significant. I digress, but hopefully you will get my point. At one time, fart was a swear word in our household, but now we're also uneasy about the word Trump. We've a responsibility to protect our children, and we have a limited amount of air and water, yet we continue to pollute both. The carbon visual slide wraps our water and atmosphere into a sphere, into a ball, to illustrate just how limited and small these resources are. The world's ecosystem is changing, with some of the changes close to home. We shouldn't blame the Chinese nations or the Indians for population, as per head we beat them hands down on consumption, resource use, waste and emissions. The longer we deny climate change, the less chance we have to ensure our children will enjoy the same things that we did. The question is, what power do we have to change things? Well, there's our professional power. At Leeds Beckett, we've led research projects that have resulted in changes to the way we build. Our changes to the building regulations, led by Malcolm Bell, now save thousands of tonnes of carbon every year. Internationally, we're also managing water in the Amazon, making roads more resilient in Africa, and generally trying to improve the way we live. However, in reflection, I've not taken my personal role's responsibility seriously. And although I bike to work, it's not to save the planet. That's for my own enjoyment. Unfortunately, it's one of the most dangerous things I do, as I go shoulder to shoulder with 30-ton lorries sucking up their fumes. So don't worry, I'm not going to encourage you or your children to cycle to save the planet. In truth, I've not properly considered the issues facing us until recently, when I started to think about my son's future and was a little concerned with the way politically and environmentally we seem to be heading. I may blame the quality of the people we have in power, but I also reflect on my researchers' comments. With power comes responsibility. I recognise that I do not just lead from an appointed position, but through my actions and attitude. In the UK, we are largely protected and privileged. We don't get hit by extreme weather conditions. However, we are already experiencing changes in the UK, and there will be future changes for our grandchildren. We are also in a privileged position of influence. Most people in this country are in the top 1% of the world's educated. Those with professional qualifications and degrees are considered even more exceptional and gifted. As managers of multi-million-pound contracts and professionals that the construction industry relies on, we carry significant influence and power. We make a difference every day, and we are the judge of where our responsibility lies. I still want to enjoy my life, but I also want my son to have fun in the future too. The so-called anthropogenic man-made change has caused greater impact to our climate than any other event in the past 800,000 years, and most of it is caused by us or our recent ancestors. As a result of the last few hundred industrious years, we are now already well on our way to the 6th mass extinction. We've already killed more things than any other living organism. My son's Ladybird book sits alongside the animals such as dinosaurs, things that are near enough extinct, elephants, rhinos, gorillas, tigers, some species of bees and butterflies. We're also reminded of this on Sundays through David Attenborough's Planet Earth 2, the most watched British TV show, which would be better named Historic Animals. The last thing that killed as many species was 65 million years ago, when a meteorite, a few miles wide, hit Mexico, led to climate change and wiped out the dinosaurs and half of the marine life. The Cretaceous extinction event was a relatively small event and wiped out a lot of our planet's life forms. What we should realise is the ecosystem is very sensitive. We've been around for a few million years, and industrious man has made its impact. Since the Industrial Revolution, with great entrepreneurs like Paxton, a leader of modern methods of building with his prefabricated Crystal Palace, and engineers such as Stevenson with his engines, and Brunel's magnificent railways, steamboats and bridges, we've never stood still. We now have Tesla cars that will drive themselves, planes powered by Rolls-Royce engines that will carry up to almost 1,000 passengers, and Hubble telescope that looks far, far, far beyond our world. But we sit on a microscopic planet that when you use our best telescopes to scan the galaxy and realise its size, we literally disappear into insignificance. With some amazing technology, we can scan the universe looking for something like Earth, an exoplanet. And we've spotted a few which are close at 4, 10 and 14 light years away. So in light years, not that far. But as light travels at 300,000 kilometres per second, not that close either. The furthest NASA have ever travelled with man is 400,000 kilometres, just a little over that. We've gone further with Voyager 1, an unmanned craft, which set off in 1977. But the 20 billion miles that Voyager 1 has travelled is just a couple of light days away. So the nearest exoplanet at 4 light years away is well out of reach. Regardless of distance, none of the rocky Earth-like exoplanets we've spotted so far look like they could contain life. This precious speck of dust which we live on is significant. The grass might be greener somewhere on the other side, but we've no way of getting there. This little ecosystem is home for 7 billion of us, and it's all we've got. For some reason, me included, we're not taking the warning signs seriously. For us, it is easy. We are born into a country with a moderate climate. We don't experience real tornadoes, droughts or tsunamis. It's easy to dismiss global warming and ignore the impact of man. Indeed, if there is an impact. So why should we take sustainability seriously? I want my son, and if he has children, my grandchildren, to enjoy the things I did, like playing in the snow. But we already don't get the snow like we used to. The seasons have changed. As a child, we used to get a foot of snow every year. Now if we get a scattering, we're issued with a yellow snow warning. But don't worry, by 2080, there will be 80 to 90% less snow than today. That pretty much means the end of snow and your yellow snow warnings for your grandchildren. I used to love climbing trees and still love the autumn, looking up at the trees. But what trees will we have in the future? Due to the warmer climates, pests and disease are affecting trees. Apparently, 72% of our broadleaf hardwood trees and 88% of our conifers are limited to just 10 species, all of which could be under threat. As service engineers, we are the most powerful environmental engineers in construction. We have to innovate to help sustain the things that we have grown to love. I love engineering and think that building services engineers could lead the way, changing our industry to one which is more sustainable. On a positive note, Merry Christmas, and I really do hope we have a lovely night. I wish you every success, and I hope we have many, many, many more white winters. Merry Christmas.